I'm not really here, so just however you need to
I know.
set up, I can work around it.
There's one. Sorry, YouTube, you're gonna have a mic in the shot. But it won't be in front of my face.
Yeah. Well, there's always gonna be a mic, right?
Yes. There's always a bloody mic. There's always a bloody ghost. All right. I think everybody's running. It's amazing.
Wow, just throw my tuner in the floor. See, nobody needs that.
Ta-da. Ben doesn't like this pillow behind you. He wants me to move it.
Does he like the frog?
I hope he likes the frog.
The frog is hilarious and should stay. I love the frog. He's so happy.
No one is getting rid of the frog. The frog is part of the show now.
Yeah, the frog is the mascot of the show.
Right. Okay. I think everything's going. I'm just going to double check again. Ben says we're live.
Oh, okay. No more lewd jokes.
No, all the new jokes.
Oh, okay.
Hello, all flavors of the internet. We have 3 streams running like right now, or at least I hope we do. Those of you who are watching us from onlineconcertthing.com, I'm so excited that you are watching us from onlineconcertthing.com. Thank you for giving that a try. And those of you who are watching us from one of the other spots, feel free to move over so that you can see the tip reward options and stuff like that. That's where the fun is. That's where the cool place to hang out is going to be. We have YouTube and Facebook running also in case everything goes sideways, but we're really hoping that it doesn't because we got our new online streaming platform run by people that we know personally, people who kick butt and who are currently kicking butt by helping us run live stream today. So welcome to the SJ Tucker and Leslie Hudson online show for October the 20th. We have a tiny October tour together, and this is one of the jewels in our crown.
Yes.
One of the jewels in our crown. So here's how we're going to do this, folks, because I know that most of you have probably been to a live show where one band plays, and then the next band plays, and then the next band plays, and you probably get sleepy and have to go home, or you don't stay for all of them for whatever reasons, and whatever reason is valid. And we don't want you to miss anything in particular. So we have split our time together so that it is woven together. And I will have the floor for some of it. Leslie will have the floor for some of it. We will part ways and then come back together, and it'll be really pretty, like a magic carpet. Sound good? A musical magic carpet. That's how we roll.
Fishies.
Yeah, fishies.
Like a fishies, I'm gonna swim off screen now.
Okay. Farewell. I will see you very soon.
Okay. I'll bring water.
Thanks for watching, y'all. I'm not personally monitoring the chat, so I apologize if I miss things. Feel free to write to me later if you need to, sjtuckermusic@gmail.com. And Leslie, what's your email? Which email do you want? I'm sorry, I just threw that at you.
Good question, and I'll think about it.
Okay, Leslie will tell you her email at some point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna double check something. Walking up to the Facebook camera. Oh, good.
It's LeslieHudsonMusic@gmail.com.
Okay, Leslie says LeslieHudsonMusic@gmail.com is the place to find her later.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to sing a song that Leslie likes now because
Yay.
she's here, and this is the first time since the spring that we've gotten to hang out. So thanks, y'all, for giving us more than ample reason to hang out today. This is Temptress. Y'all feel free to sing along wherever you are. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to hear you, but that's beside the point. just a bad boy from the get-go, with a chivalrous streak a mile wide. Devil on your shoulder, angel at your side. Say work best single-handed, but give a girl half of a chance. A lady never rushes her engagements, and we've only just started to dance. Sin from your lips and I'm listening, though you're far from the first that I've had. My middle name is temptation. I got it by you, babe, but don't feel too bad. It's true, I've had a little bit of practice at the length and breadth of this game. You can run from my kiss, but I promise you this, you're never gonna be the same. Fallen angel, beautiful thief, a pretty little vampire cutting her teeth. Regardless of the lady or her level of disgrace, you just can't say no to a pretty face. The city is sleeping safe and sound, never, never, never had been so fine. As for me, I can be patient, 'cause someday you're gonna be mine. Oh, honey, I know that it's been a long time. Your cloak's gone a little bit gray. I can help you out with your troubles, but you have to let me stay. You already gave me permission to slip beneath your skin. Why bear the weight of the whole damn world when all you got to do is let me in? You can't return to what you were before you took first blood. But I've got your back if you let me. An angel never breaks her word. Mama will make it all better, lift you up when you're down. From leaving up out of your gigantic heart in the paranormal lost and found. Oh, an angel, beautiful thief, a pretty little vampire cutting her teeth. Regardless of the lady or her level of disgrace, you just can't say no to a pretty face. The city is sleeping safe and sound, never, never, never had been so fine. As for me, I am bloody well patient. Someday you are gonna be mine, yes. Oh, Chicago is sleeping safe and sound. Never, never, never had it so fine. As for me, I can be patient, 'cause someday you're gonna be mine. As for me, I am bloody well patient, 'cause someday you're gonna be mine. Said it's on Friday, you'll be mine. So a little secret for those of y'all that don't know this already, the sillier I get, the more anxiety I'm fighting off. And it works most of the time. It's working for me today, but I have a feeling that I'm gonna need to adjust some sound settings before I play the next thing. So I'm gonna run my mouth just a little bit, bear with me. Let us know how things look and how they sound from where you are, especially those of y'all watching on online concert thing. Again, I'm sorry that I'm not able to personally monitor the chat tonight. There's a bit of been said about a 20-minute lag between my speaking and you hearing what I say on the video feed. But that said, it is the smoothest, fanciest video feed I have ever seen personally on an online stream ever in my life. So I think it's pretty great. I'm hoping that it's coming through to you pretty great as well. You know what else is great? Water's great. RJ is here monitoring the chat for us tonight. Or no, she doesn't have the chat. Uh-oh. Okay. She thought she would be able to monitor the chat, but it hasn't happened that way. So I'm just not gonna worry about a thing, because every little thing is going to be all right. I don't have a set list, so it's gonna be very seat of pants, but they're really cute pants. I'm not gonna lift up my skirt and show you how cute they are. I'm just gonna play the next thing. It's that time of year, and I have some things that are close enough to ghost stories that we can get away with calling them that, I think. And this one's not out yet. Those of you on online concert thing, if you want the recording of this for your chipper board, let me know. If you grab the mystery song, and if this is the one that you want me to send you, I absolutely can. There's also a demo version of this up as part of the traveling song set on my Bandcamp page. It's skinnyWhiteChick.bandcamp.com. And I'm deciding which one to play next, and I think it'll be the one I have in mind, and then I'll go back to familiar territory after that. This is called Girl and Ghost, and it's about the bits of history that are known that put cunning folk and healers and midwives, people who may or may not be witches, and more power to them no matter which way they happen to swing, who become the scapegoat whenever that's what's needed by the rest of their community, whether they consent to it or not. And how, quite frankly, this time of year, we think about this more than any other time, I think, at least culturally here in the US. The dead far outnumber the living, and they always will. And there's the concept of having the beloved dead in your life and having a little bit of a rapport with those folks that you're related to who were kind to you and are no longer here in the physical side, and what they might be able to do to protect you. And I won't go any deeper than that because it's Sunday, we're just hanging out. Here it comes. Country charm, of cunning and kind, mark the changing weather. Heaven knows what we may find when we seek together. Cunning woman, keep your head, heed the wind and watch the sky. Power enough to raise the dead, wit enough to let them die. Silent in the ground until she sings, sleeping deep beneath the pathway, still as stone. Root and blow and secret silent bones until she calls. Country drummer, who are your kin? Where do they lie down? Do they mind their manners when they're underneath the ground? Cunning woman, do they hear when you're crying in the night? When you weep with no one near, do spirits rise to hold you tight? Silent in the ground until she sings, sleeping deep beneath the surface, still as stone. Root and low and secret silent bones until she calls. Until she calls, we will guide. And when she calls, we will rise. Until she calls, we will guide. And when she calls us, we will rise. Country charmer, people will talk, mark the changing weather. They can't know the lands we've walked, girl and ghost together. Running woman, do not let hush and whisper worry you. They'll not turn upon you yet, but we'll be ready when they do. Silent in the ground until she sings, sleeping deep beneath the pathway, still as stone. Root and lone and secret silent bonds until she calls. Until she calls, we will hide. And when she calls, we will rise. Until she calls, we must fight. And when she calls us, we must rise. Thanks, gang. I'm going out on a limb with a couple of these things because I put them, I don't have a set list down there. I have a wish list, which I think is just as valid. A couple things I haven't practiced. This is not one of the things I didn't practice. This is one of the things I did. There's a song about missing somebody from the Stolen Season CD that turned into a ghost story before I could catch it. My hand slipped. My brain slipped. My muse slipped. It all slipped. Magic finds us kicking up the dust along the road. The silence travels farther than a story often told. Vagabond I've been and vagabond I'll always be. Running down the devil at every crossroads that I see. I never thought to be called back to a home that I outgrew. But the summer's gone, the call is strong, and there's something I must do. Thought I knew all of the stories that a southern girl could know. But there's a dream of Mississippi that I never tell a soul. That I never tell a soul. So what had happened was, the man who is now my husband was not at the time, but I found out that he was going down to do a 6-week work job, contracting job in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And I'm from Arkansas, for those of you who don't already know. And I think those of you who didn't know that are few and far between, but I used to hide that, and I don't anymore, because it prompts conversations that need to be had about racism and tradition and all kinds of stuff that's very, very important and in the forefront of the overculture imagination right now, which is as it should be. But so that said, I am from Arkansas, but all of us in the southern states kind of like to talk trash about each other. Like people from Arkansas talk trash about Mississippi, people from Louisiana talk trash about Arkansas. It goes round and round, and most of it's meant in fun. At least I think so. I hope so. I want that to be true. Anyway, so I say that to tell you how odd it felt to me to realize that I was about to be driving to Hattiesburg, Mississippi on purpose for love. I never thought that I would be able to say that ever in my life, and it turned out to be true. And this song was inspired in part by that realization. There's a boy that his arms outstretched to me when I pass by. Some days I wish my heart would get too tired to even cry. When missing him, it's all I do. The days all pass me by, like these dreams of Mississippi and these ghosts who cannot lie. This ring rests on my finger like a baby on a wall. And whispers gather round, they come to dance when darkness falls. Everything I see adds up to say the tale is tall. But back into his arms is really not that far to fall. There is moonlight on the river where I never thought I'd go. There's a dream of Mississippi that I'd never tell a soul. That I never tell a soul. Oh, at night, I swear I feel him, and so my eyes stay closed. The distance brings us closer now than ever, I suppose. Oh, so I'm going where the sunshine shimmers right through summer's end, where the heat will lay you out before the harvest comes to end. The world I thought was done with me has called me back again, with these dreams of Mississippi and this ghost who calls me friend. There is moonlight on the river where I never thought I'd go. There's a dream of Mississippi that I never tell a soul. But I knew all of the stories that a southern girl could know. There's a dream of Mississippi that I never tell a soul. That I never tell a soul. Oh, I will never tell a soul. No, 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 I will never tell. Oh, oh. Spooky. If anyone hears my baby son crying out from the courtyard, it's not because he's out there alone. It's because he's out there while I'm working and he's mad. Baby noises are part of previous concert streams that some of you will recall fondly.
There was a request for Baby Shark.
Did you get in there?
Yep.
Yay, okay, RJ's in the
What
chat.
about you?
Great. Did anybody have anything to say about the sound?
Everything's great.
I could pretend that I know how to play Baby Shark, or I could learn it for y'all and play it the next time. Or make it into a medley somehow. That's more likely, because that way I don't trip on fair use, and the platform doesn't have to pay licensing to the folks who wrote Baby Shark, who are probably already making a killing on licensing right now. Musician facts. Okay. Let's see. Who else? Yes. All right. Here's one that I want to play in spite of the fact that I haven't practiced it. So we'll see how this goes. Oh, do you like my witch hat, by the way? I may have to. It's fleece, right? And we're not quite in the chilly nights yet, so I may have to bail during Leslie's first set and go get the other hat. But I'll keep it on as long as I can, because I know how cute it is, because I can kind of see the stream. And I realize for some of you that the camera is a bit far back and that you can see all of me. You can see all of me. And in some ways that's fun. In other ways, I know you're going to ask me to get the shot tighter in for next time. I will do my best on that. Tonight, we have 2 laptops running on a makeshift table, and I'm not messing with it any more than I already have. So, love you. I'm listening to your feedback, but I'm not going to change it now. This is a tune for the Marquis of Fairyland and all of the people she once was and will be. And for all of us who feel we have been cast in a story that does not belong to us by people who think they've got us all figured out. I got news for them. It goes like this. True name stopped clocks, wildest dreams. Time's up, darling, let it be. True name stopped clocks, wildest dreams. Time's up, darling, let it be. Let it be. Who's the wicked queen and who's the princess here? The truth is far from plain or how you think it should appear. Let's be done with fairy tales and how they're meant to end. That's the wrong verse, so I'm gonna try that again. I can tell you there's a spindle that is sure to break my hand. Who is good and who is wicked all depends on where you stand. Rock and roll, folks. You may call my truest name and fling it to the floor, but ticks and talks from broken clocks can't hurt me anymore. Let's be done with fairy tales and how they're meant to end. The truth is that I lost my way and found it here again. I never meant to hide behind a clock, no longer chiming. Fairyland will have its due regardless of the timing. But I am not the villain in this tale. No, I am not the villain in this tale. Call me what you like, I've been as kind as I can be. Set off the alarms and bring the sky down upon me. I think this was the ending. We both have come so far. It'll break your heart how very much alike we are. I never meant to hide behind a clock no longer chiming. Fairyland will have its due regardless of the timing. But I am not the villain in this tale. No, I am not the villain in this tale. No, I am not the villain in this tale. I am not the villain in this tale. If you want the very truth, I'll lay it down before you. Everybody's got a story. If you want the very truth, it's here before your eyes. Every witch wants someone's princess and some other once upon a time. True names stop clouds, wildest dreams. Times of turning, let it be. Mustn't try to hide behind a clock, no longer chiming. Fairyland will have its due regardless of the timing. I fed you all my sweetness, but it wasn't to your taste. I may have lost this battle, but I will not be erased. No, I am not the villain in this tale. No, I am not the villain in this tale. No, I am not the villain in this tale. I am not the villain in this tale. Oh, I wish you know my destiny as I go to mine. May we meet again in a better storyline. I wish you know my best dreams as I escape to mine. May we meet again in the perfect storyline. Thank you. Water. So where are we tonight? Some of you recognize this place. This is the beautiful home of Renee Jansky and Rhonda Jean. They're hosting us. They are loaning us a cup of internet, which is very kind, as well as lots of care and feeding of musicians. That's one way to get us to come see you. Not saying it works for everyone. Most of us, yes. So let's see. The other day, I had this on the big wish list for the full set of little travels that Leslie and I have together, which will wrap up in Memphis this coming Tuesday night. So if you have people there, please let them know. We will perform at Neshoba Union Church at 7 p.m. Central. Plenty of seats, I promise you. But we were comparing our our lists for the shows of the songs that we thought we might want to play, each of us respectively. Like, I didn't write Leslie a list and she didn't write me a list. That's not how that works. But Leslie looked at mine and she said, "Ooh, what's Kosh Kosh?" And I told her, it is a nursery rhyme for little jinn to try and keep them behaving themselves. And Kosh Kosh is sort of the patriarch of the jinn in my friend Kat's Orphan's Tales books. I do recommend those if you have not seen them. They're very twisty, nested fairy tales. And in the second book, we meet one of the queens of the jinn. We meet the Ember Queen. And there are several different monarchs in the world of the jinn. But I thought, well, baby jinn need a nursery rhyme, because a nursery rhyme, if Kosh Kosh is sort of the patriarch, then I bet that parents tell their kiddos that he's like the boogeyman. And if you don't behave, Kosh Kosh will come and get you. And I think that's actually in the book. I don't think I came up with that on my own, but I did come up with the nursery rhyme. And it goes like this. Looking through the embers, stirring up a storm. Kosh Kosh is watching you and keeping you from harm. Ember, ash, and kindling, camping, pretty kings and queens, counting out your wishes, lighting up your dreams. Never make a wish that will make your mother frown, for gosh, gosh, gobbles all the naughty children down. Off tinder, flint and steel, pretty kings and queens, granting all your wishes, dancing in your dreams. Listen to your mother when she takes you to town, for gosh, gosh, gobbles all the naughty children down. Peeking through the embers, stirring up a storm. Kosh, Kosh is watching you and keeping you from harm. Ember, ash, and kindling, pretty kings and queens, counting out your wishes, dancing in your dreams. Never make a wish that will make your mother frown, for gosh, gosh, gobbles all the naughty children down. Off tinder, flint and steel, pretty kings and queens, granting all your wishes, dancing in your dreams. Listen to your mother when she takes you to town, for gosh, gosh, gobbles all the naughty children down. Peeking through the embers, stirring up a storm. Gosh, gosh is watching you and keeping you from harm. Peeking through the embers, stirring up a storm. Gosh, gosh is watching you and keeping you from harm. My baby son is about to have his first birthday. It's going to be this coming Friday. And I know that when he is older, he will discover that I have written songs like Gosh, Gosh, and he will have questions. And I will say, no, sweetie, that song is much older than you. Don't worry. That was not for you. He will have his own twisted lullabies, no doubt. He's got a few that are not so twisted right now. Or they're not twisted if you're me. They may be twisted if you're not me. I don't know. I'm not asking opinions on those. I am going to come over here and look at my laptop and check the time, though. Okay, good. Yes. Leslie, do you feel like joining me for one?
Yes.
Before we swap the focus?
Is it the one?
It is the one. Yes.
I'm going to tune my guitar because I'm a nice person. You can have a second to stretch if you need to. Some of y'all know this song already and you have some affection for it. It's on a little thing we did in 2016 called the Green Album, along with songs by Ginger Doss, Rebecca Kelso, Tuat Badea, and lots of other incredible folks that we love. Wendy Wu, Spiral Rhythms on there, Murphy's Midnight Rounders, Sharon Knight, Mama Gina, bunches and bunches of us got together and made an album, baby. And we've been sending donations from the sales of it to the Rainforest Trust ever since, and have helped them secure something like 25,000 acres at least. This is how we change the planet with our music. It wouldn't happen if y'all didn't believe in us. So Leslie's here to perform 1157 with me, and then magically we will make her the focus of the next little bit. And then we will come back together, and then we will come apart again. Except we swapped it a bit. Yes.
So I'll do some.
Yes.
You'll come and do a song while I'm doing some.
Yeah.
And then you'll do some. And then I'll do some.
Thank you for translating that. I was getting lost in the esoteric part.
No, it's fine.
That's what friends are for. Friends are for grounding you when you start to drift off into fairyland. If it's not planned. If it is planned,
Yes.
then they'll like watch you go and be like, okay, write to me. 3 minutes to midnight. Hold your loved ones close and tight. Watch the stars and hold the light burning in your heart.
Countdown in progress. Live your life and kill the stress. Speculations blazing, guess till the whole thing comes apart. Hold me till it's over. How much time till doomsday comes? Hold me till it's over. How much time?
Too young to know better, old enough to stand and fight. Watch the stars and hold the light till it swallows up the sun.
Got it down to a science. Destination recompense. Is there any common sense in counting down to one? Hold till it's over. How much time till doomsday comes? Hold me till it's over. How much time? It's not enough to see, it's not enough to believe, it's not enough to keep the eyes wide open. It's not enough to see, it's not enough to believe, it's not enough to chase these dreams of peace. If nothing changes, nothing grows, no rotted towers overthrown. It's not enough to see, it's not enough to believe, it's not enough to chase these dreams so hard till it's over. How much time to doomsday comes? Hold you till it's over. How much time? How much time? How much time? How much time? 3 minutes to midnight. Hold your loved ones close and tight. Watch the stars and hold the light. Burn your heart. So much better when I don't have to do that by myself. My big scary song. A big scary climate change doomsday clock song. Ladies and gentle beings. My friend Leslie Hudson.
Yay. Thank you.
And just there we go.
Well, you will be on song number 3.
Okay, I will come back for song number.
Thank you. You have bits of time. Okay. Hello, everybody, on all of the screens, in all of the places, wherever you may be. I am Leslie Hudson. I have come to you all the way from Arkansas by way of Ontario, Canada. It's a long way around. And I'm going to sing you some songs. Actually, what I think I might try to do is tell fewer stories and sing you all the songs from Keep Left at the Fork. Because I think I can do that if I don't talk too much in between. I like to talk, which is evidenced by how long it normally takes me to sing through the album. But I will give you just little pieces and then the songs that come with it. So my new album is called Keep Left at the Fork.
I completely failed to be out of the shot. Sorry.
No, that was funny.
Okay.
It's only because we could see all of this, right? So you would have had to snake your way along the grass. There, that's better.
Sorry.
That was very funny. We have now set the tone for the album. Sneaky fairies. With small horns. Oh. So the album is called Keep Left at the Fork, and it is based on, it came from 13 cards that come at the end of Brian and Wendy Froud's Fairy Oracle deck, the Heart of Fairy Oracle deck. And the 13 cards mark 13 steps on the way into fairy, this journey into the other world. So it always starts with a blessing. If you're going on a journey, always get the blessing of those whose house you're about to visit. You know, don't just walk in, especially when it comes to the fairies who can be tricksy. You know, get on their good side first. Bring offerings. This song is called Perfect Storm. I crossed over the river, the sun setting low, the clouds started gathering, and a voice I
you should know. This river is rising high, and you're in its way. The thunder is rolling in today. I can't help but wonder at all I've undone, at all I am building, at all I have sung. This breeze was the heart I asked. This river runs deep and swallows the secrets I no longer keep. When the rain falls, when the rain falls, when the rain falls, how did I find myself Sunday morning in a perfect storm? I come wearing nothing to have or to hold, for I have discovered how to never grow old, 'cause I'm lost or not made of, and I'm joy when I gain, and I have decided here and now to lay here. When the rain falls, when the rain falls, when the rain falls, how did I find myself Sunday morning in a perfect storm?
Song number one. I have to keep drawing the, yay, silent clapping. I have to keep drawing the sign in the air, which is, I thought was a horseshoe all the time that I was writing the songs and putting the album together, but it turned out to be a torque. So inside the album, there is a lyric booklet, which I've never been able to afford to do, but I had a Kickstarter fund this summer, and we got that stretch goal, so I got to put that lyric booklet in, and I got to put all of the design elements that I wanted. So there is a picture in there of the torque and all of the Ogham symbols that go with each of the songs arranged around it. And as far as the tip rewards go today, if you are watching through onlineconcertthing.com, then you can get either the physical album of Keep Left at the Fork or the digital download of it. And those are not going to be available to the rest of the public until sometime in December, I think. So if you want it early, that's your chance. So I took this very long tour, the first time I went out on tour in 2017. And it was 6 months long, and that is too long. If you've never toured before, don't start with 6 months, is my recommendation to you, unless you want a real challenge. Or you want fodder for an album, which is what mine turned into. So, pros and cons. So this song is the second step on the journey, which is the leaving, holds the place of the leaving. It's called tetherless, which I didn't realize wasn't a word until I finished the song. It is a word now. The proper word, I think, is untethered, but tetherless sounds better, so this is tetherless. This isn't gonna try to get me out of here. I wish I didn't have this dead-end job. It's not I gotta chase a distant horizon. I'm gonna start a brand new life abroad. But I need to know if I can do this. Gonna take my songs and run. Only bring what I can carry. Gonna dance beneath the sun. My grip is tenuous at best. I'm feeling tetherless. My grip is tenuous at best. I'm feeling tetherless. This isn't God, I'm scared to get out of here. I wish I didn't have to leave my home. It's not I gotta see my name in neon lights. I'm gonna wander aimless on my own. But I need to know if I can do this. Gonna take my songs and run. Only bring what I can carry. Gonna melt beneath the sun. My grip is tenuous at best. I'm feeling tetherless. My grip is tenuous at best. I'm feeling tetherless. 48 states and a single long line. I bet it's gonna take me a really long time. 48 states and a single long line. New York to California. 48 states and a single long line. But it's gonna take me a really long time. 48 states and a single long line. Washington to Florida. Oh, I need to know if I can do this. Gonna take my songs and run. Only bring what I can carry. Gonna dance beneath the sun. My grip is tenuous at best. I'm feeling tetherless. My grip is tenuous at best. I'm feeling tetherless. Yay! I need a Sooj. Back, please. So the third stop on the journey. This is, you're getting the, what is it called down here? Cliff Notes, right? Cliff Notes version of this album. When I was touring with it, I was playing across the western states and then back across the west of Canada. And it's a 2-hour concert with no breaks in between because I was priestessing a show instead of performing a show, and that required a lot of teaching in between songs and bringing everybody with me on that particular journey. So this is the short version of it. At some point I will record some kind of a video that will give the whole thing because I would like to have that very much.
There's a birdie in here. I just noticed.
Yes, Matthew got me these. There's a whole bunch of different colors. It's the skull of a raven.
Yay.
And I didn't know until I was watching Harry Potter one time, or a little while ago, and Bellatrix wears this around her neck. And I was like, because as awful as she is, I got a little soft spot in the dark parts of my heart for Bellatrix Strange.
You're not alone in that.
No, I didn't think so. So this is the third stop along the journey, which is once you've left and you are super excited about leaving and you have not yet had a car problem or a bad gig or, a breakdown or any of those things, which do come because life is life. You've got all of this lovely time to sit and think, and all of these thoughts come to the surface in your head, and I had some memories surface. And the fun part about this song, and I can tell you the whole story, I can type it out later maybe, but the fun part of this song is that it wasn't supposed to be the third song on the album. The third song on the album was written and I was all excited about it, and the fairies, when I finished the whole thing, I was like, yes, I'm done, and the fairies were like, about that. So we had a meeting while you were out, and unanimously, sorry honey, but unanimously we kicked song number 3 off the album. And I know you're upset, but go get some whiskey. It's going to be okay. Write a new song. Because that one, no, not good enough. And they were right. This is one of my favorite songs on the album. And it's written about a day that Sooj and Betsy Tinney and I were singing and performing together. And it tells that story. It's too long to tell.
You can tell it. Go tell it. It's good.
So basically, we were at, at the time it wasn't Raven's Way. What did they used to call
The
it?
Sacred Well.
The Sacred Well.
Now the Ravens Well.
Yes, in Portland, Oregon, and we were performing 2 nights in a row. And the first night, I remember feeling like I was inflamed in a good way, and I was on fire, and nothing could touch me. It was just this lovely, warm, glorious energy. And then the next day I got a message, an article sent to me that said that the church that I'd grown up in, my family church, had burned down that night. And so I had to think about what was the connection between why do I feel fiery the night that happened. And what I realized was when I was a little girl, I used to see all of the energy we would raise together as a congregation when we sang together. It was the only time we were all on equal footing. And we would sing and it would fill the church, and then when we were finished, it would go, and that was prayer. That was actual, real, true prayer, communal prayer. Not someone telling us what to think or how to feel and what he thought and what he felt, but how we all felt together. And so I remember trying to explain that to them, and they couldn't get it. But I poured all of that energy and all that magic, I poured it into the very bricks of that building, and when it came down, that energy returned to me. So it helped shape the song. And on top of the church coming down, so did my family home. So, and the Norway spruce that grew out front that I used to watch the crows nest in, and there's a lot of lost buildings in my past. And so the song brings all of those things together. It's called Unsaved.
I remember the night it went up in smoke. I was singing a song of forgiveness, and how even love doesn't cover all the sins when a heart has been round to fulfillment. I remember the light that shone through the glass, and the magic I found in the music. They couldn't believe the things I saw, but I had the vision to prove it. A touch on my skin, a burning in, standing surrounded in flame. have been returned to the woman I became. A light in my heart, another star, remembering I never caved. I saw the magic in the air, even then, even there, unsaved. Yeah. I remember the day it crumbled and fell. I was thinking about resurrection and how I knew I could never go home, where the bodies were only reflections. A touch on my skin, a breathing in, falling without any sound. All the compassion for the girl I have been returned to the keeping on the ground. A hole in the sky, another try, remembering more than a grave. I saw the magic in despair, even then, even there, unsaved. Oh, unsaved. The apples were ripe for the taking, and I was a world in the making. Oh, they couldn't believe the things I knew. I didn't expect them to. A touch on my skin, sinking in, standing but never the same. All of the passion for the girl I have been returned to the woman I became. A lump in my throat, another cold, remembering how to be brave. I saw the magic everywhere, even then, even there, unsaved. Oh, unsaved. Yeah. I remember the night it went up in smoke. I was singing a song of forgiveness.
This is the first time, not this particular show, but this particular little mini tour that we've been able to play this together in the same room. Because Sooj is on the album on this song. I wanted to recreate that space. So Betsy is also all over the album, but she and Sooj and I hold that space. And Jody Krangle does the backing vocals, and it's very pretty.
I'll tell you a secret.
Okay.
That this is full circle for me right now, playing that song with you in this house, because this is where I reviewed the mix that you sent me back with the guitar put in.
Ah.
In the chair that was right there. Next to it, like right where your piano is.
Oh, that is lovely. That is very full circle. So I was driving around. I'd been on the road for a month, my first month on the road by myself. And I was thinking good thoughts and feeling pretty good about this. Hey, I think I've got this. And then a voice started in this year to balance out the voice in this year, and that voice said, "What the hell do you think you're doing? You have another 5 months to go. Are you nuts? Why didn't you start smaller? Or, how are you supposed to do this all by yourself? You're the only driver. You have to wear all the hats all the time, and you have never done this before." And so, if you're anything like me, I have this argument between these two voices that they sort of yell at each other right through my temples. And it was an interesting experience to have them equally loud in both of my ears. So I decided when it came to this particular spot on the journey, which is the challenge, that those voices would become entwined in this one song. So I'm singing two voices at the same time. And that is Welcome to My Psyche. This song's called This Isn't You, and you'll hear my answer to that in the middle of it.
the road. Where are you going, babe? I don't know. I didn't come this far to turn back now. It's time to go, go, go. Turn back around, go, go, go. What are you looking for on the road? What are you waiting for? You don't know. I didn't come this far to turn back now. It's time to go, go, go. Turn back around, go, go, go. It's time to wake up. Turn back around, push through. You can't do it. Reach out. What were you thinking? This isn't you. This isn't you. Like hell, it's not. How did you think this was gonna go? What did you hope you were gonna show? I didn't leave it all to turn back now. It's time to go, go, go. Turn back around, go, go, go. It's time to wake up. Turn back around, push through. You can't do it. Reach out. What were you thinking? This isn't you. This isn't you. Like hell, it's not. So what if I've gotta make this upside go to hell with all the others? I should already know I didn't do this 20 years ago. No, I wasn't ready to be living on the road. I wasn't ready to be living on the road. It's time to wake up. Turn back around, push through. You can't do it. Reach out. What were you thinking? This isn't you, this isn't you. Like hell, it's not. Wake up, turn back round, push through. You can't do it. Reach out. What were you thinking? This isn't you, this isn't you. Like hell, it's not. This isn't you, this isn't you. Like hell, it's not. This isn't you, this isn't you. Like hell, it's not. Oh, yeah. Oh, oh.
Yeah. That one has been resonating with quite a lot of women, particularly, and women who decided to shift their lives in the middle of their lives and do something completely different. And that makes me happy because that is where that song came from. I'm glad I'm not alone. The next stop on the journey, there are two songs that kind of go together, like yin yang, I suppose, dark and light. And the first is of the joy of the future. And you will learn quite a lot from me when I tell you that the name of the song that I wrote to hold the space of the joy of the future is called Locked and Loaded. Because that is generally how I approach the future. It's supposed to be this place of anticipation and openness and vulnerability, and at least I find that sometimes that is easier said than done. So this one is I've changed sounds, so hopefully that still gets along with the microphone.
Days at a time, you lay in the dark, under shadow, my heart. Caught in a crime you held in your heart. determined to be lost. Locked and loaded, you were itching to be tossed. But I couldn't let you, I didn't wanna let you dive in, no. I just couldn't let you, I didn't wanna let you in, yeah. Yeah. Counting undone, I slipped through the cracks to the bottom, black. Out of the sun, ready to snap, I could pull it back. Locked and loaded, so determined to be lost. Locked and loaded, I was itching to be tossed. So I couldn't let you, I didn't wanna let you dive in, no. I just couldn't let you, I didn't wanna let you in, yeah. Locked and loaded, so determined to be tossed. Locked and loaded, pushing back at any cost. Locked and loaded, I don't wanna be lost. So I'll try to let you, I'm gonna try to let you dive in, no. I will try to let you, I'm gonna try to let you in, yeah. Hope I still know how to swim.
I love the keyboard setting on that.
Yeah, it's tremolo EP. So it's doing something where it's going back and forth like this. I like it too. That's the closest I can get to sounding electronica on on my digital piano. It doesn't have a lot of electronica going on. On the album, I'm playing the piano, but all of the rest of the musical instrumentation in that is all by Christian Borson, who is my buddy from Oslo. And we've been making music together for about 7 years, maybe. Written loads and loads and loads of songs together and been on each other's songs. And we had a lot of fun. And we met during FAM, which is February Album Ready Month. If anybody is the kind of songwriter like me who needs to write hard and fast for a very short period of time and then not do that. FAM is writing 14 new songs in 28 days in the month of February. And it is quite fun. If you want to find out more about that, you can go to fam.org. Please go to .org. That is very important. Do not go elsewhere. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. How is our time doing?
It's 12 after 6.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Okay. I'm going to do 2 more, and then I will. So, do you want to take a break in between? I'm talking to Sooj on camera. If you can't tell, that's who I'm speaking to.
Be great.
A little bitty break.
I think I forgot to tell the household what our stuff time was. And
Okay.
I should let them know.
Okay,
So
so
tiny break.
okay, so I'm gonna do 2 more songs to take us to the middle of this album, and then we're gonna take a tiny break, and then we're gonna come back and Sooj is going to do her next set, and then I will come back and I will finish the album. That is the way of things. So you go to the bathroom very soon. You can do whatever you like. We can't even tell. It's all right. You can watch in any state you like. And turn this down because this particular sound is louder than the other ones. So after you have the joy of the future, the next stop on the journey into this otherworldly place is the shadow of the past, because they go hand in hand. If you're like me, you carry some of your baggage along with you, and I mean, less and less. I try to jettison as much of it as I can as I go, but there's definitely bits, favorite pieces that I hang on to. So this one, when I used to play at bars, I would have people come up to me and say, after I'd sung something very passionately, I would have usually men come up to me and ask me why I was so angry. I'm like, well, passion's not angry, A, but this song is actually angry. Sometimes I do write angry. That is allowed. So this one is It Holds That Space, number 6 on the album, and it's called Shatter, Scatter, Patter. I got your back, 'cause there are times it's all you'll let me see. We're off the track. We used to walk, pretending we were free. There isn't one piece of what we made. It's try to save it, I can't. I'm gonna start this again. Because I'm singing the wrong verse. I got your back, 'cause there are times it's all you'll let me see. We're off the track. We used to walk, pretending we were free. There isn't one piece of what we broke. It's time to snow. I cannot remember the words to this song. One piece of what we broke. It's all but smoke. I'll just have to think about weed. That's where that comes from. Weed is the illusion or whatever, the metaphor there, and so there's one piece of what we broke. It's all but smoke. I'll remember this time. I
And
promise.
it's not because you're high.
It's definitely not.
Because I promise she's not high.
I can't be high. Actually, it doesn't work on me. So in Canada, where I'm from, it's legal now federally, so I can't get in trouble for saying that on YouTube or whatever. I got your back, 'cause there are times it's all you'll let me see. We're off the track. We used to walk, pretending we were free. There isn't one piece of what we broke. It's all but smoke, and I can't breathe deep enough to get high on you now. If the essence of the thing that was can last beyond the shadow, does it matter that it's broken? All that's left is scattered. I don't know, but now and then I think I've been much more than pattern, more than pattern this time. I made a deal, a rewrite, and shut the river down. I cleared my head and filled it up with both feet on the ground. There isn't one piece of what we made. We tried to save, and I can't dig deep enough to understand you now. If the essence of the thing that was can last beyond the shadow, doesn't matter that it's broken. All that's left is scattered. I don't know, but now and then I think I've been much more than pattern, more than better this time, more than better, more than better this time. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. If the essence of the thing that was can last beyond the shadow, doesn't matter that it's broken. All that's left is scattered. I don't know, but now and then I think it was. I think I've been much more than that. More than better this time, more than better, more than better this time. If the essence of the thing that was can last beyond the shadow, does it matter that it's broken, or that all that's left is scattered? I don't know, but now and then I think it was. I think I've been much more than that. More than better this time, more than better, more than better this time. Made it through, third time. Oh. So I'm going to do one more song, which is the 7th song on this album, the 7th stop on the journey. And actually the name of that stop on the journey is the song. And what I realized when I was creating this album, because I had to write a song for each one of these stops along the way, is that I had to do a working of my own. The whole album is a magical working. And I had to spend time in that space and figure out what it was actually about. What is the lesson there? Because only after I'd understood it could I then turn it into some kind of song, or to draw some part of my own life into a parallel space. And so I noticed that the first half of the album, the first half of this journey, is just me talking to myself. And that is the point, is that visually I see myself tromping through the woods without noticing anything beside me. I don't hear the birds. I don't notice the creatures that are living in the trees or in the roots, and everything's fleeing before me because I'm stomp, 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 and lots of things going on in here. And only finally when I sit down and am still for a moment, and I picture myself sitting on a stump in a clearing, and just audible sigh. Only then do I realize that I'm not just in a place, I'm of that place for the first time. And when that happens, there's a shifting of awareness, and you can sort of see between the lines, see between the molecules. That's where all the fun stuff happens. So this song is called Just Be, and it has many, many, many time signature changes. Just for fun. I've been anxious, I've been tired, I've been cross and I've been wild, overwhelmed and overemphasized, called upon to understand and empathize. Every little light has got a darker shade. Everyone I love's about to be remade. Better bring your game, you're starting second hand. Step out of the rain and remember to laugh. Just be. Like a rock I haven't rolled, like a child I have been told, underfed and underutilized.
'cause now's the time to override and optimize. Every little light has got a darker side. Everyone I know has got a bruise to hide. Dig into the dirt if you want to complete. Step out of the rain and remember to dream. Just be. Just be. Shrug it off today, give it up and play. Go find another way. Go find another way. Go find another way to just be. Just be. Just be.
Yum.
Yay! Thank you so much for being here, everybody, whoever you are, wherever you are. We're going to take a little short break. And are you chatting with folks? Is that what you're doing over there?
Everything's going swimmingly.
Oh, good.
Everyone
Good.
is happy.
Sooj is talking to the people, and people are happy. Hooray. That is a good thing. Are we still lagged? Like, is there still that break? Yeah? Okay. No, that's fine. So we're going to take a little break in our time. You are still watching.
And then we'll be back.
Yes, we shall be back.
That was the break dance. I was break dancing. The break.
I can't do a break dance, so I'm just going to just...
Oh, can I get banana fish?
Oh, that's probably a good thing. Puddle on the floor. We're still here.
Lucky, we lucky.
Yay! We played all songs that I was like not quite serious, but I'm in that emotional space, so I was like, oh, so good.
Detachment here. Sweet. I might do that again.
Good, good.
Figure out where I put the list so I can make good on that thread. I'm not done with it.
Oh yeah.
Looking much of my mouth, though.
That's very meta. It's like, that movie was about the dreams inside the dreams in something. Inception. No. Dreams inside dreams. Do you want it?
Thank you kindly.
Let's say Is there anything to share? Oh, please, yes. I would love that. Even if we just have it for a bit. See ya. See ya, Dad. Yeah. Jenny just said I is
I'll get mine too, 'cause mine's over here. Hi gang, if you're still here, thank you. I'm still here too. And everyone who's put lots and lots of work into making tonight a success, I have some thank yous to make. Thank you, Leslie, for coming and hanging out with me. Thank you, RJ and Renee, for letting us borrow our house and space and internet and makeshift laptop tables and extra ears and extra eyes and extra energy. As far as extra energy goes, Renee is helping my baby son have dinner right now so that we can keep working. And thanks to Ben and Heather and Peter for working their butts off behind the scenes and in front of the scenes to a certain extent yesterday to make sure that this was all going to get rolling on time for me. And that is true friendship right there. I'm very, very grateful to be streaming in this context. It is such a relief to have a new platform that is run by people I actually know. And Ben just decided, I'm going to make this happen. And here we are. And so it is. So he made a request just in time, and I'm going to play that in a minute after I play this one. For all my Strowlers, if you don't know that you're a Strowler yet, I encourage you to Google that word, STROWLERS. And I think you might find that you have something in common with this bunch that feels that magic is for everybody. And sometimes that makes them have to run from the government just a little bit. No more spoilers. This is called Mirror Self. Mirror Self, reflect my face. Hear my words, take my place. Like the Lord will make you whole. You have my heart, and I my soul. Mirror Self, reflect my face. Hear my words, take my place. Breath and Lord will make you whole. Take my heart and leave my soul. Wolves know their work, so be ready, ready to run and hide. Is this the magic mirror? Finish the tale and decide between the worlds, to and fro, hand in hand. It's time to go. Never fear, my mirror girl. Step by step, between the worlds. Wolves know their work, so be ready to split yourself in two. Trust in the tale that you carry. Step on through. Oh, mirror self, reflect my face. Take my hand and take my place. Hear my words, hear my words. When I call, you must come. my soul. Breath and my blood will make you whole. Mirror sound, reflect my face. Hear my words, take my place. Breath and blood will make you whole. Take my heart, lead my soul. Mirror sound, reflect my face. Hear my words, and take my place. Take my place. Take my place. Take my place. So the other night, the first show of this run that Leslie and I shared was in Lawton, Oklahoma, and we were at this beautiful store called Curious Goods, wonderful witchy store, wonderful witchy people. And I warned everybody, I said, don't sing this one in front of the mirror because you might disappear. It is legitimately a spell in the thing that inspired it. And I said this as I am facing the mirror on the back wall of the big plate mirror on the back wall of the area, the little classroom area where we were playing. So I had to close my eyes a lot during that song so that I didn't do to myself what I was warning everybody else not to do. And I went back there immediately as I was singing it just now because the instinct was to shut my eyes. It's become a self-preservation measure now. So if you see me just screaming out, it's because I don't want to go into the mirror and not come back. It's a good PSA actually in general. Is don't sing that one and mean it in front of a mirror if you can help it, because I think it might go off if you do, and I don't want to lose any of you. There's precious few of us as it is. Tuning my guitar because I love you and the temperature's dropping, which you can tell. La.
The air conditioning also got
And the AC got turned on.
I'm so happy.
Leslie and I have stories about places with air conditioning that we're not going to put you through because it wasn't fun at the time. There's no reason to share it now. Something I would love to share with you all is a trip to the labyrinth. It's getting to be the time of year when I get to go back to Memphis, not just give a concert like we're going to do in a couple of days, but attend an event called Festival of Souls, where there is each year a candlelight labyrinth in the field that is so large it takes a good 40 minutes to walk in one way and come out the other. And that's if you're not booking it, not if you intend to spend some time and do a little work while you're there. But it's extraordinary. And there were a couple of years when I could not walk it with intent. I could only walk it as a dance, as a form of exercise, with a light heart, because that weekend of that festival, which meant so much to me, was also the weekend that my dad died. And I had to leave the festival in order to try and get there in time before he was gone. But once I could walk that labyrinth again with intent, I came back from that festival and stayed with the friends who were putting me up, and I wrote this song, which is Come to the Labyrinth. Feel free to sing along wherever you are. You are safe to do so. Walk between the worlds, break it down the candle road. The light will lead you deep into your core. Move into the center, add your sorrow to the cold. When the incense rising steady as a prayer. Know the heart is heavy as the dance is burning down. May you raise your eyes and never bow your head, for we are not alone. takes the tiniest of fires sometimes to light the way you move was always there. In the heart of matters, it's the journey keeps us warm, and the lights that lead us where we are to go. May you raise your eyes and know with every step we are not alone. We are come to the labyrinth tonight, walking one by one in the dark of sour, a little burning bright, and the candles waving down. It only takes the tiniest of fires sometimes to light the way you was always waiting for you there. In the heart of matters, it's the journey keeps us warm. When the incense rises, steady as a prayer, steady as a prayer. May you raise your eyes and never bow your head. Oh, may you raise your eyes and never bow your head. We are come to the labyrinth tonight, walking one by one in the dark of sour, a little burning bright, and the candles waving down. We are come to the labyrinth tonight, walking one by one in the dark of sour, a little burning bright, and the candles waving down. We are vessels of the highest love, in a vessel burning bright, the lesson of our lives, when all our sorrows all run into one. May we born this hour night, when all our sorrows all run into one. May we born this hour night. We all come to the labyrinth tonight. 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 We all come to the labyrinth tonight, and the candles waving. Everybody take a minute and breathe. Make sure you're back from the labyrinth now. I had to do that myself, which is why I mentioned it, just in case it wasn't just me. So, ask me anything is a phrase that pertains to certain flavors of social media I have learned. That is not what this song was inspired by. This is Ben's request, and he's worked so hard, how can I say no? This was inspired by a great big red wyvern from Fairyland, who will tell you that his father was the municipal library of Fairyland. And he and his siblings are named after sections of encyclopedias.
His name is L. And I wrote this for him and for all the teachers and all the parents and other folks who inspire those coming up.
Just a little different, just a little shy. A heart so big and red as mine is difficult to hide. I know I've come home pretty strong, but I'll be your better shadow if you let me tag along. It's a strange place to be, but I know my way around. Not a soul that can fly, but there are riches on the ground. So don't you dare be afraid. I am here by your side. It's confusing out there, but I won't leave you high and dry. Ask me anything, and I'll help you find your way for adventuring. This could be a lucky day. Never feel what I did if the answer isn't plain to see. Cross-reference and you'll find the key.
I should point out that Heather and Ben also played every single request that I made yesterday. Turnabout is, in fact, their play.
Just a little funny, just a little loud. Know how enough to do a library proud. I know I talk too much sometimes,
Hush you.
but tell me all your wishes and I'll listen every time. It's a strange place to be when you don't know where you're bound, but I'll walk right beside you and I'll never let you down. Oh, let all the lions threaten me. Courage follows friendship to the bottom of the sea. Ask me anything, and I'll help you find your way for adventure. This could be a lucky day. Never feel my idea if the answer isn't plain to see. Cross-reference and you'll find it. 12 of 26 and 1 of 3 makes me 11 ices melting by degree. So we'll lose our chains and we will all fly free. Never fear and put your trust in me. I will walk and I will dance, but flying's got to wait until I'm not the only one. And joy can never come too late. It's a strange place to be when you can't spread your wings. But even bound as we are, we can do all sorts of things. So don't you dare be afraid. Just you hold your head up high. Never mind the ones who tell you you're too big and bold and bright. Ask me anything, and I'll help you find your way for adventuring. This could be a lucky day. Never feel my dear if the answer isn't plain to see. Cross-reference and you'll find the key. Ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba. Ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba. Ba-ba-da-da-da. Ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba.
Byron, Stumpy, Brad. Thank you. Thanks for the request, Ben.
More tuning.
I woke up with all the allergies in my face today, y'all. And so far, having a concert to play has kept them at bay, but like my sinuses are starting to feel really gross again. Maybe it's just a reminder to drink more water. Yeah. I told everybody at our Fayetteville show the other night that I was apologizing if Oklahoma was stuck in my throat, in my face, if I sounded allergic to everything. It was because Oklahoma tried to follow us back. And I'm like, no, don't diss Oklahoma like you're talking about in the earlier set. people in different southern states talking crap about each other. But I'm allergic to something, and it is in my face right now. So me and the neti pot have a date after this is over, and after the baby goes to bed. I will not describe that any further, because yuck. I'm full of goo, but I'm also full of songs. Here's the next one, so I don't get any more disgusting. Out of nowhere came the idea to honor our farmers market folks and our co-op folks, and RJ is one of those. So I can dedicate a song to RJ now. It's called the Fruit Sellers Song. Even though RJ does not work at produce at Ozark Natural Foods, she I'm sure could tell you a thing or two about the produce if you needed to know. But yeah, out of nowhere came this idea that, well, maybe Persephone goes to the farmer's market and pretends she's just a normal food vendor sometimes. So this is the Fruit Seller Song for our Lady of the Underworld and also of Spring. Get you a goddess that can do both, by the way. Don't forget that she's both. Sustenance and sweet temptation, forbidden fruit is all I have to sell. And I forgot the next line. Okay, we're going to come back to that. Again, I had it on my list and didn't practice, and now Persephone's like, yeah, you should have practiced, boo. It'll come. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's back now. Sustenance and sweet temptation, forbidden fruit is all I have to sell. In the shade of a farmer's market morning, where no one speaks of heaven or of hell. Sustenance and sweet temptation, forbidden fruit is all I have to give. I have learned a thing or two in Hades. Under fear of punishment is no place to live. Sustenance and sweet temptation, forbidden fruit is all I have to share. But there's no trapping any apple, and pomegranate seeds don't make a snare. Won't you come and see me at the market? I've had only happy customers to date. Just as the spring or as the autumn, I think you'll find forbidden fruit is worth the wait. I had that in mind to play tonight for sure because we are in Fayetteville, and Fayetteville has one of the sweetest farmers markets I have ever met. I keep turning around to look at my cheat sheet. I could just hold it up here and you guys wouldn't care. I know that. I should have written water under every song. I'm going to pretend that I did and follow my own invisible instructions. Here's one that those of you who were my regulars back when we were all hanging out on Concert Window might have had it in mind to request. It will be coming out soon. Don't ask me a date because I will make myself into a liar if I try to give you one, but it will be out soon, soon, soon. In the meantime, I get to sing it to you now. This is Trickster Prayer. Goes wild, cloudy skies, the lights go down, new sunrise, temple burns, mothers weep, trickster guard my fitful sleep. Aces high, spirits low, always on with the show. Rules to break, vows to keep, trickster guard my fitful sleep. Poker face, sucker punch, amazing grace, naked lunch, battle star, quantum leap, trickster God, my fitful sleep, spider song, rabbit silk, jackal burr, raven's milk, fairy tales softly creep, trickster God, my fitful sleep. Oh, I know you've been as gentle as you can, in sleeping or in waking. I keep my courage very close at hand and pretend I am unbreakable. Heavy crown, whistle down, wicked smile, silly frown, love's embrace, no mistake, trickster guide me when I wake, cuddle tight, kill the light, bring the love and not the fight, morning coffee, evening tears, trickster please, stay right here. Stay right here. Won't you stay right here? Oh. Quick cameo. This one's a nobleman, that one's a squire. One man will sing in the heavenly choir. One will descend into hell's licking fire. Tell which is which will take better than I. Oh, I know you'll be as gentle as you can. I'll be at my very best. Stick to the road, follow the plan, no matter how it changes. War between brothers, sire fighting son, kin raid with kin, where once there were none. If that made no sense, don't worry. queensofbabylon.com, you might shed some light. Love you, Heather. Surprise. Right, okay. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of water for the next two, which will be my last two before a wild Leslie appears. Thank you all for spending some time with Leslie and me tonight, and RJ and Ben and each other in the chat. We'll do this again. If you have a date preference or a timing preference, a time preference, hour of the day or day of the week, please write to me and let me know. SJTuckerMusic@gmail.com is the place to look. Those of you who are not watching on onlineconcertthing.com tonight, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook Live, and you would like to send in a little bit of scratch for these musicians that are doing this for you tonight, feel free to use my PayPal link, which is paypal.me/SJTuckerMusic. paypal.me/SJTuckerMusic. I will make sure that Leslie gets her share if you choose to do that. Water, 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 water. Right. Let's get just a little fierce, just a little bit of pride, and just a little bit of resistance here. This is Roses in the Rocks. Just in case anybody was feeling sleepy. What didn't you do to bury me? But you forgot I was a seed. Poet Dinos Christianopoulos. If the roses in the rocks can bring
then I better get to blooming too. Persist, resist, and bloom. Persist, resist, and bloom. Whoa, if the roses in the rocks can bloom, then I better get to blooming too. If the roses in the rocks can bloom, so can I. Not like it's rocket science or even prickly pear marinade. You know what they say about life and lemons. Pour me some of that lemonade. Rich versus poor ain't nothing new. Artists and fools still speaking truth to power. Well, what about you? Yeah, what about you? See, I'm not afraid to fight for change, for the ones who are the change we want to see. If springtime comes on back around, blossom feeds the honeybees, yeah. Sweet little seeds keep breaking free. If the roses in the rocks can bloom, then I build to blooming too. Persist, resist, and bloom. Persist, resist, and bloom. Oh, if the roses in the rocks can bloom, then I better get to blooming too. If the roses in the rocks can bloom, so can I. It's hard, it's hard, it's hard to kill a rose bush. Why would you wanna try? 'Cause we all share the water, the starry sky, the food supply. So grow your thorns, my people. We still got plenty of sun. We are the wild and rainbow roses whose colors will not grow. Oh, you better get to blooming. Persist, resist, and bloom. Wild roses keep on climbing, no matter who's in charge. Our truth has always been here. The future still is ours. Wild roses keep on growing, no matter who's in charge. Our truth has always been here. The future still is ours. Wild roses keep on blooming, no matter who's in charge. Our truth has always been here. The future still is ours. Better get to blooming. Persist, resist, and bloom. Persist, resist, and bloom. If the roses in the rocks can't bloom, then I better get to blooming too. If the roses in the rocks can't bloom, so can I, so can I, so can I. So this one's on my usual Bandcamp page, but it's also on iTunes and Spotify and all the places, because I was like, people need to hear this one. I will make the digital distribution happen on all the big scary channels. So unless they're not telling me the truth about the fact that they were going to make sure it got on Spotify and iTunes and whatnot, it's there. So that was the last guitar song for me. Even though I kind of want to keep hiding behind the guitar, I'm not going to. But I'll do this last one with a fair amount of exposition, but not like a ton of it, because I don't want to run y'all to death now that I've woken you up. I don't want you to go back to sleep yet. Did you know, fun fact about your Sooj, sometimes when I am really lucky and I have been very, very good Santa, I get to narrate an audiobook professionally. I've done it 3 times now. And this most recent one came out just a few days ago, just a little more than a week ago. I was able to announce the release of the audiobook of a little thing called Daughter of the White River, Depression-Era Treachery and Vengeance in the Arkansas Delta by Denise White Parkinson, who has become my friend over the course of the creation of this audiobook. Denise is another person from Arkansas. This is a piece of Arkansas history, this book, that I never heard about until I was completely grown. I didn't even know about it until a couple years ago. And I found Denise's book. I bought it on a whim. I started reading it to Ryan while we were cooking dinner one night. And we couldn't stop. We just had to read it through to the end. Because the way that Denise describes this place that we came from, and a houseboat community that doesn't exist anymore, that has gone extinct in the past 100 years. We just could not tear our minds away from it. It completely grabbed our hearts and our imaginations. And at the center of it is this young woman whose name was Helen Ruth Spence, who only lived to be 22 years old. She was born in 1912, and she died in 1934. So right in the midst of the Great Depression, right in the midst of everybody already having survived the Younger Gang, for instance, and now Bonnie and Clyde in their heyday. So the popular imagination was gripped at the time by the concept of the public enemy. And so when this young woman, who is only really remembered when she is remembered at all for walking into a courthouse and killing with a pearl-handled lady's pistol, the dude who murdered her father in front of the judge and the jury and everyone who was there, the press ate her up and they were like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. You know, they didn't really care much about her humanity. They didn't care much about the fact that she was about to be incarcerated and quite frankly, put under some not fun to describe torture. There's your content warning for the book. She tried to escape, and she did successfully escape at least 4 times from what passed for a women's prison at the time in the place where I was born. It's still not anything to be proud of, the Arkansas prison system, but probably don't need me to tell you that. They just thought that, you know, she was going to be great headlines. And so then it was up to her friends from the river to recover her body, steal it from the funeral home where she was on display when she had died, when the warden of the prison set her up to be killed, quite frankly, because she was too much trouble. It was up to her friends to go and recover her body and bury it in secret. And until just a couple of years ago, no one knew really where her grave was except just a few folks that had known her and had been her friend when she was alive. And now she's got a proper headstone and everything. And it's because Denise, the author of this book, is completely tireless in trying to make sure that Helen's story gets told. Would that we all had someone like that in our lives who would make certain that people knew our names and knew what actually happened to us when we go. Oh my gosh. So yeah, this has had a big piece of my brain for a couple of years. So when the thought came up, wouldn't it be cool if there were an audiobook for this? I basically harangued Denise until she let me audition to produce it. And now we finally have it out. It's on Audible, it's on Amazon, it's on Audible, it's on Amazon, it's on iTunes. I'm so excited about this that I'm tongue twisting myself. Sorry about that. But I would never have gotten in touch with Denise if I hadn't been inspired to write a song after I read the book in the first place. So that's what I'll close with tonight. This is Girl from the River. It is on my page as a single. You can go find it. And I have KUAR in Little Rock to thank for that, because they have an arts and letters program, radio program, where they fuse books and music that go with them in a radio show sort of podcast format. And they were going to include my song, and I said, "Oh, I better release that as a single, hadn't I?" So they were the fire that got lit under me. And Denise was very, very kind in listening to the song when I presumptively sent it to her. She did not wait; she listened right away. So all these things weaving together and coming full circle. Not only now is there an audiobook, there will also be a documentary film very, very soon as Denise can get the next phase going for it. Something I learned after I wrote this is that it is reminiscent of a field holler. And in order to be a responsible human, I feel the need to say that I do not have a cultural claim on the style of field hollers, because I was not a slave. No one in my family was a slave. Field hollers kept people alive and kept people sane. And I mean no disrespect by evoking their sound. Heaven is a river on a sticky summer day, when you're a daughter of the Delta and the river's where you play. Miss Helen was the best of these, now she's gone away. Oh Lord,
have mercy on my soul. Raised upright on a houseboat back before the Dust Bowl came. Helen left a mark on everyone who knew her name. They all recall her fondly, but she met her end in shame. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Through the flood of 27, hidden springs all kept their taste. The river people never let a good thing go to waste. When times got bad, they never saw decisions made in haste. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Heaven is a cool brush up by the riverside. But they say Helen lost her way for good the day her daddy died. Soon her mama followed, but Miss Helen never cried. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Came the girl from the river, shoot her down there in the dust. The river takes no prisoners, and the girl does what she must. River justice is the only kind I know to trust. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Heaven's in the hearts of those who miss you when we go. Helen made her way to town where the jury sat row by row. Before their eyes she shot the man who laid her daddy low. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Heaven's in the hearts of those who smile to speak your name, regardless of the pressmen who would glorify your shame. She was Arkansas's own gun girl in a time of fickle fame. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. A killer and an orphan waiting for the court to say if they'd move for her release or keep her always locked away. Ellen made an honest living in the little town cafe. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. The owner's reputation as a mean and handsy mess earned him nobody's sympathy and bullets in his chest. Though the law had already let it go, Miss Helen did confess. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Tame the girl from the river, shoot her down there in the dust. The river takes no prisoners, and the girl does what she must. River justice is the only kind I know to trust. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Heaven is a story shared at night when work is through. Shared with sisters in the lockup who don't judge the things you do. There were men who needed killing and your hands were ready to. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. You can't catch the river's daughter when she's running for the fence. Just the first of many prison breaks Miss Helen did attempt. When they dragged her back, oh, they whipped her till she wept. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. She saved her lock-up sisters when she ran away again on a trip across 3 rivers where the women would be sent to earn the warden money at the whim of wicked men. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. 10 more lashes with the black snake and they tossed her in a cage. But just like that old summer sun, her spirit kept ablaze till the warden set her up to die. The last escape she made.
Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Cage the girl, tame the river, shoot her down there in the dust. The river takes no prisoners, and the girl does what she must. Maybe river justice is the only kind of trust. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. You won't find the river people on the lower white today. But you'll hear of river justice if you know the words to say. As for river people's secrets, well, they took them to the grave. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. There's a ghost for every river, every road and sea. And the Corps of Engineers can't have these rivers running free. There's no headstone, just a big old cedar watching over me. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul. Oh Lord, have mercy on my soul.
Those of you who were my concert window regulars will remember that that song premiered on an online concert. So here we are 2 years later, right back honoring the beginning. Thank you. Thank you for your attention tonight. Not just for me, but for Leslie, who is on her way back to the stage space in this very moment. So nobody leave. No one leave.
So come get you.
Never. No leaving.
And the goblins will get you if you don't watch out. Did you ever have that poem? Little Orphan Annie? I think it's British.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yes?
Leslie, my great aunt used to perform that. My great aunt,
Did she?
was my great aunt Ruth, who only died recently. She was 108.
Wow.
Yeah.
The goblins will get you if you don't watch it. That's what I always remember from the. I don't remember anything else about the poem. I just know that the goblins were coming.
She was. I can hear her voice right now. She was a teacher while Helen was alive. She was a young woman and a teacher.
Oh wow. Well, maybe that's why it was in my head. I wish I remembered the whole poem. It's quite a long poem. Okay, transitioning. So I'm going to bring you back now to the journey where I left you off, which was that point at which you find yourself listening for the first time. And when you listen, hopefully, you have the opportunity to move to the next step on the journey, and that is the question. And the question is that space where hopefully someone comes to you and gives you the opportunity to ask a question. And just a bit of advice when you are speaking with the fairies, they don't want to answer questions about you. They will answer questions about themselves. They definitely like to talk about themselves. But if you come asking for questions to be answered solely for your own purposes, they will likely not give you much of their time or give you an answer that will lead you in a good direction. So come at it from the other direction, ask them something about themselves, and see what happens then. So I did a reading with the cards and the Heart of Fairy Oracle deck by Brian and Wendy Froud. If you missed the first half, that is these are the 13 cards that come at the end of that set, and they've inspired songs that I've written on my new album, Keep Left at the Fork. So that's what we are continuing with now. And we are on song 8, which holds the place for the question. I did this reading and I had 7 cards fly out, because they generally fly out of a fairy deck for me. They're not neat and tidy, they just... And then I have to figure out what they mean. So I don't ask any questions, I just start shuffling. and I had 7 cards. I knew they wanted to be in a cross. They just sat there for days, and I kept looking at them thinking, I know these mean something, but I can't figure it out. And when I sat down to write this song, I realized what they had shown me was myself in 7 cards. I didn't think I could be summed up quite that quickly or succinctly. And so it was pretty impressive. It was very impressive. They got every single part of me. And they said, now go write. I went, okay. So this song is called Ask Who I Am. I found it easy to blaze a trail, so easy I don't always see what I'm blazing, forging ahead where others fail, turning the dream into making. And I make my own luck as I blaze along with a glamour that rounds off the edges. A copperhead mistress of magic and song. The clues and you'll see where the edge is. If you ask who I am, I will ask you the same. And this season, only a trickster's game. For the speaker of truth has the same to say. I am who you are today. I love with all that I am and more. Ever a champion of vulnerable spaces, opening up to molten core with the courage to love the dark places. And I pick up and go when I feel it's time. And I've gathered epiphanies, brilliant and bruised, to muse as I wander in liminal rhyme over all of the words I could choose. If you ask who I am, I will ask you the same. In this season, only a trickster's game. Who the speaker of truth has the same to say. I am who you are today. Oh, I am who you are today. The joy of the rain when it first fell down, love that begins to unfold, life that's been lived across sight and sound, accumulating the world, dust to the stars in a very skin, snowflakes are part of the snow, the web that connects every
the riddle you know. When you ask who I am, I will ask you the same. And this isn't only a trickster's game, for the speaker of truth has the same to say. I am who you are today. Oh, I am who you are today. I am who you are today.
Yay! That's the only song on the album that I play by myself. There's somebody else at least with me through the journey, but not for that song.
Does that ask me who I am?
Ask Who I Am. Okay. Yeah, that's the name. Song number 8. And now that you've got this lovely epiphany, you've received this wonderful message, you start walking through the woods with your head in the clouds and high on epiphany, as it were, and you walk, as was the plan, straight into the temptation that they have perfectly laid out exactly in your path. And it is exactly the kind of temptation that you will fall for. And that is not accidental. That is because you have revealed a great deal of yourself while you were tromping through the woods and talking to yourself out loud, thinking no one was listening to you. And they were gathering information about you the entire way. And they have crafted this wonderful thing for you to fall head first into or head over heels for. And it is a good time to remember that when you are given something to eat or something to drink in fairy, you do not accept it. You do not drink it, you do not eat it, unless there is a reason that you would like to stay there forever. If you would like to come home, please do not accept the gifts that they give you in the form of food or drink. It's a trick. If you read the Irish stories, there's usually a fairy woman who comes to this world from the other world, and she comes because she's fallen in love with a man from afar. Because of his reputation, the story is told about him, and she shows up and says, "You, come with me," and inevitably he says, "Of course." And he goes and he eats and he drinks and he lives and he loves. And when he finally becomes homesick and says, "I want to go home," I'm sure people are missing me. It's been 3 days. It has not been 3 days. It has been 3 centuries. And he's always given a warning. When you get back to the land, do not dismount from this horse, or do not touch the earth, something like that. Because if you do, bad things will happen. And what originally happened in the stories is that they turn to ashes, turn to dust, because they're 300 years old. In the later stories, they've been patricized, as I think Renee puts it. Or was it Renee that was talking about that? Someone was talking to me recently about patricizing the Irish myths, where Patrick just shows up and changes the end of the story. So you become very, very old, but before you die, he baptizes you or he Christianizes you, and now you can die a Christian. The end. That was not the way it used to go. Heed the fairy's warning is the point of this little story. So this song's called, that I wrote for this, to hold this place, is called I Gotta Bow My Head. I gotta in brackets because I don't gotta. And I was raised in a religion that requires you to bow your head. Close your eyes, bow your head, always propitiating. And that is not in my nature, so I didn't do it willingly. And it was always an act of rebellion to keep my eyes open. And you know that if you are a child, because you look around the room and you see all the other people who have their eyes open, and then you have questions. I was on a journey, a spirit journey, and I met the Cailleach for the first time. And she is a pre-Irish goddess of the land. I would have to spend a great deal of time explaining who she is. Please look her up if you'd like to know more about her. And she looked at me when I came to her. She presented herself as a very ancient old woman. She's of the stone of Ireland, the backbone of the land. And she looked up at me with these sparkly little eyes. And I didn't know what to do when I saw her, so I thought, am I supposed to bow? Like that's what you do when you're respectful. And she put her finger under my chin and she lifted it up and she said, "We bow to no one." And I never have since. So this song is, I gotta bow my head, but you don't. I want that sound. There we go. You know it really creeps in. You don't notice it at first. Even when you're on the lookout. Even when you rehearse. It doesn't feel like a big deal. What is one little kiss? But then you're up to your eyeballs. You know you're better than this. Suddenly you're surrounded and there's something in the tea. Consequently you're grounded where deference is currency, and there's something to be said for eloquence and tasty bread. But I've always been suspicious when they tell me I gotta bow my head. So then you take your first step, and it turns into a dance. And before you even know it, you're having new romance. You started to whisper, and they start keeping track. A little voice in your head says, now you can never go back. Suddenly you're surrounded and there's something in the tea. Consequently you're grounded where deference is currency, and there's something to be said for eloquence and tasty bread. But I've always been suspicious when they tell me I gotta bow my head. I gotta bow my head. Suddenly you're surrounded and there's something in the tea. Consequently you're grounded where deference is currency, and there's something to be said for eloquence and tasty bread. But I've always been suspicious when they tell me I gotta bow my head. I gotta bow my head.
That's all.
That is very fun. That song on the album is the only song that has Nathaniel Johnstone on it, and he plays creepy fiddle. And he plays creepy fiddle because it just comes naturally to the man. But he also plays creepy fiddle because I specifically asked for creepy fiddle. I thought, what is that song missing? And then I thought, it's creepy fiddle. Who do I know who is a master of creepy fiddle? Nathaniel Johnstone. And he has a new album out also. What is it called?
The Dubious
The
Hat.
Dubious Hat. Yes. So go find him too also. He is lovely.
I think it's something like The Dubious Hat and Other Tales of Horror.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of words after that. Other tales of... Now I want to know.
Misery and woe.
Yeah, there's some... It's horrible words at the end. And I'm sure that is true. I've not had a chance to listen to it yet, but I will. So, you fall into the temptation as you were meant to. And that is because you cannot learn the lesson that is coming next without it. And the lesson is how to find your way out of that pit of despair, to borrow a Pilgrim's Progress illusion. If anyone grew up with that particular story. If you're a Calvinist, you grew up with Pilgrim's Progress. which is another journey story, but it's sad and depressing. I don't recommend it. But the Pit of Despair is this, also Princess Bride, right? Comes from that place too, which is much more fun. Read that instead, or watch it. So you have fallen to this dark place, and when I was thinking about the next stop on the journey, which is the hope, I was thinking about not just when you make a mistake and you feel bad about it, or when you are playing in the darkness, as many of us witchy folk like to. It's not that kind of darkness. It's the void. It's that place that you sometimes fall into, those of us who deal with, on a fairly regular basis, depressive phases in our lives, or very dark places in our psyches, or trauma that we carry with us for the rest of our lives. Learning how to manage it, incorporate it, include it, but not be bogged down by it is a lifelong study. And there is nothing that can replace what you can learn from that process where you are in darkness, you are in that void, and you find a way to create light. There's no substitution for that lesson. And as someone who falls into that depression on a fairly regular basis these days, it's essential that I remember how to walk myself back to light. And I was thinking about artists specifically, because as artists, as musicians, I've talked to painters, for example, who talk about the canvas when it's blank as being the most terrifying thing. It's like writer's block, painter's block, I guess, because there's nothing on it. You have to start from scratch. And then the idea has been suggested just to put a dot on it, just put something on it so that you have somewhere to begin. When you create music, it never has a physical form. It's always ethereal. And you have to create it out of nothingness in a way that it will remain. And it will only remain by the continuation of its sound, singing it over and over again. Other people pick it up and sing it too. It's the only way for that song to maintain cohesion. So how do you find that space in that dark place where you find yourself? How do you create that? How do you connect to it and not forget how to? And there is no right answer. I'm not about to give you the answer because it's a personal study, and we just keep coming up with hopefully better and better ways to be able to do that. But I was thinking about all of those things, and I wanted to write a song for artists. So this one is artists of all kinds, creatives. So this song is called Catalyst, and it is about finding that spark in the dark.
A spark in the dark cannot go unseen, cannot disappear, cannot melt into the nothingness or hide behind the night. It is other. It is light at the eye, unaccustomed to illumination shines, and the heart that never felt the sun expands, and the mind confronting chemical epiphany understands. This is a catalyst for completion, a catalyst for resolve. This is a catalyst to launch 1,000 ships away, a catalyst to art at the start has no memory, has no consequence, has an infinite potential to become or to betray, just a facet, just the clay of the eye, unaccustomed to illumination shines, and the heart that never felt the sun expands. hands. And my confronting chemical epiphany understands. This is a catalyst for completion. A catalyst for resolve. This is a catalyst to launch 1,000 ships by. A catalyst to pierce that paper blade glimpse and find the words upon your lips. Room below and starry above. You are light and love. Light and light and light and light and love. This is a catalyst for completion. A catalyst for resolve. This is a catalyst to launch 1,000 ships by. A catalyst to evolve. When the eye and the heart and the mind understand, understand, understand. Catalyst, catalyst, catalyst.
So we've gotten ourselves out of the mire, found hope, and if you can look at that card that was painted for that particular spot on the journey, it's this fairy sitting in the dark, and just the tip of her wing is lit. It's really quite beautiful. If you can look it up. On the other side of the hope is where the work gets done. That's where the happy stuff happens. The real stuff happens. And in fairy, that means you're dreaming into reality. You're dreaming reality. Because in fairy, that's what reality is. So it's this opportunity to finally take everything you've learned and to open your mind to see what it is you might do with it, how it is you might incorporate it, what it could feed, what kind of seeds you could plant. And because you can imagine them into being right in front of your face, there's no limit. And the trick is later then to take that with you into reality, back into the real world. But in that moment, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You just focus on what it is what would you do? What could you do? Because anything is possible there. And the song for that that holds that space is called Stargazer. And I wrote this for somebody who really loves the stars, which is what he's doing right now, working in a planetarium in Vancouver, teaching other people about the stars and sharing his love of them. And he is working on a documentary that is called Chasing Atlantis. And it's all about the stars. It's about the last shuttle launch that went up a few years back. And it's also about all of us that stay here on the ground looking up at the stars. And why do we do that? and how are we connected to one another, what it is that makes community. He's still working on it, and a lot of people have become involved in it, so I'm very much looking forward to it when it is finished, but it'll come in its own time. And if you want to find them online, you can look up Chasing Atlantis on Facebook or chasingatlantis.com. So this is Stargazer. Let's find the right sound. There she is.
There's a hole in your heart in the sky that's a part of the soul in your eyes, like the start of a life. And the stars in the light of the spark that was there when you first looked up. There's a tear in the dream, like a tug on the seam that you wear far too snug. So it seems not enough to be deemed to be rougher than gleams in the night of that deep, dark sea. Stargazer, lie here with Stargazer, what do you see? There's a gap in the place between something and space, where the man has become more the face than the sun of the race that we run, keeping pace with a light that is all but burned out. There's a knot in the twine, like a twist in the twine, where it's caught in the mix of the fright on the fritz, and divine is the wish and the wine as it flows, when we've all but drowned. Stargazer, lie here with me. Stargazer, what do you see? Tell me. There's a path through the woods, looking out from what should and what has been the drought of the good in the doubt, and what could have gone south and what would have been better if only for. There's a mountain to climb through the smoke and the grime, where the sound of our hope cannot die in our throats, and the time we devote to design and to love only builds us up. Stargazer, lie here with me. Stargazer, what do you see? Tell me the story of what we could be. Tell me the story of what we could be. Tell me. stargazer, what do you see? Tell me.
I have to check on my time to know how much of stories I should tell.
There is a little clock on the across there. It's very pretty.
Oh, right there. Sparkles. Okay, 10 minutes. Very short stories. 2 songs left on the journey, and we can't be done with the journey until we get to them. So, short story. This song is called Mother Blood. I dedicated the whole album to my mother. She is fighting her way through cancer at the moment, and she was diagnosed the day before I started recording the vocals for this album. So that was May 31st. So this year there's been a lot behind the scenes emotionally, and there is a whole story that goes behind this song. It holds the place of the gift, and it is the last step on the journey before you leave, while you're in that other world. And if you're fortunate, you'll be given something that is hard to decipher, because the best truth is hidden in plain sight, and it is trickily guarded by, the shape of an acorn, or in the form of some wisdom you can't decipher yet. So you bring it with you, and you sit with it, and you learn from it over time. At least for me, that's the best kind of advice I can receive. Something I have to work out. This is a vision I had, and you'll hear it in the song. Mother Blood.
I had a vision where I saw her standing, as though on a cliff staring down at her face. I watched her passing her tears into handfuls of crystalline saline agreement of grace. Grief that passes from mother to girl, for every daughter a gift to take with her into the I saw the passing of legacy teardrops wind all down the mountain in unbroken line. Spiraling women of sorrow remember, in their handfuls of memory dark and divine. Grief that passes from mother to girl, for every daughter a gift to take with her into the I am the daughter who dared to look down and consider the gift I've been given was more than the curse of our mother blood staining our dresses. And tears became pearls rolling back from the shore. Daughter to mother, the girls found their way up the mountain to find her. Matriarch, all of your daughters today bring a gift from the water. Then
this world. Into this world. Mother blood. Mother blood.
The entire chat is sending healing and casting dark imprecations in Cancer's journal.
Seriously, it's an evil little bastard, it is. Yeah. Thank you for that. The healing. I appreciate it. I'm sure my mother, if she could translate it into prayer, she would also appreciate it too. She could do that. One more song on the journey. And we are 4 minutes. Okay, I can do it. Back to the beginning here. This is the returning. It holds the place of the returning, and the trick is that if you never leave home, you can never come back to it. Does that make sense? If you never leave, you never know what it feels like to come home. And that is a lesson that I got to learn. I'm very grateful to have learned. The song that holds the place for that is Metamorphosis. It's the last song on the album. And metamorphosis between sisters in a multiverse of bliss and of blisters. Here's the one life where she kissed her, and here's the one where she's a mister, cataloging this metamorphosis. Navigating this metamorphosis. Abolitionist by ellipses and absolute ships and eclipses. Here's the one path where she slips, and here's the one where she's a victim, integrating this abolitionist. Advocating this abolitionist. Burning veils and summer hail become the threshold of winning hearts around. Oh, depart will I, and this life, the journey back to photosynthesis, catechism, feral sun to sell, cataclysm. Here's the one breath where she's rhythm. Here's the one where she's a prism, scintillating this photosynthesis. Underwriting this photosynthesis. Burning fields and summer hail
Coming back to this metamorphosis. Welcome home to this metamorphosis.
Thank you for the off-screen applause. Yay! So, are you quoting Moana right now? All the tattoos.
Yes.
Okay, so to bring us back, hopefully I didn't lose anybody along the way. That album is called Keep Left at the Fork. It's a fairy album. It's got a warning attached. Be careful how you use it. And my name is Leslie Hudson, and you can find me at lesliehudson.com, and my music's on Bandcamp, lesliehudson.bandcamp.com if you want digital music. But Keep Left at the Fork is not available to anyone at the moment if you're not seeing me in person, or I'm not giving away as a tip award. So now's the time before it is released. So thank you so much to Sooj for sharing the evening with me and these last few shows, and our one more in Memphis on Tuesday. Yes, and for our lovely hosts, Ranjin and Renee. Outside, my brain is now losing all words coming out. Food, yes, food, and a little bit of tequila. I will also have, so I have earned it. And hopefully, you will see me at some point back again on this platform, and I will figure that out in the coming months. But I'm going home to take a break, so I'm excited about that. Yay! Doo-doo. And also doo-doo. Yeah, silent applause is weird.
And our hosts off screen.
Yay! Yes.
And Ben behind the screen.
Yes, thank you so much, Ben. Thank you.
He's going to tell me when the lag has caught up with the whatever, so that I don't hit stop.
Good idea.
And thank you, Facebook folks, and thank you, YouTube folks.
Yes.
If you want to send us a little scratch for putting this together tonight, and you're still here after all this time, my gosh, I love you.
Yes.
PayPal.me/SJTuckerMusic. I will make certain that Leslie gets her share. Thank you.
She's good at that. I am thinking YouTube and Facebook probably don't have a way. Because I have the same issue before. The last few songs I'm always like, let's go. This lesson so long.
Here, it says, okay, thank you.